Welcome to the Sur Studio Podcast. My name is Priscilla and I am your host. And I'm on a mission to help luxurious interior designers reclaim their precious time and elevate their services to turn their interior design business into a 7-figure company. How? Keep listening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sur Studio Podcast. I'm so happy you're here another Wednesday with me. We are going to be talking about mostly 2D drafting and 3D rendering. These are two main services in our company, and I want to talk about the power of them, realistic pros and cons. Why is it a wise investment for your business? Let's dive right in. So let's start by talking about the power of these two. I am pretty sure that you already know how necessary and important 3D drawings are. They are essential, basic. They are the blueprint, the foundations of your design, of course. But we also know how time-consuming they can be and how, sometimes even boring they can be, right? There's many people who love to do them, don't get me wrong, and that is completely okay. But most of us, we don't love sitting, drafting some floor plans. And that is also okay. That's why we are here. That's why Sur Studio provides this kind of services. On the other hand, not many people knows the power of 3D renderings, which, don't get me wrong, 3D renderings are not the same as 3D models. We will be talking about this in our next episode, so stay tuned for that one. But let's talk a little bit about the power of 3D renderings. So we know that as interior designers, we need to be able to show our clients the design that we are thinking and that we are creating in our minds. And we even either do mood boards or, as I said, a 3D model. Probably most of you do 3D models, which is still very good. It's still okay. It still communicate the idea, but not as good as a 3D render. And there are so many clients that when they look at the 3D rendering, they automatically approve the design compared to looking at 3D models or mood boards, or maybe even when you bring the samples, which again, don't get me wrong. The samples are still a very important part. You still should bring those together with your 3D rendering, but not by itself. Let's talk about some realistic pros and cons about these two services. So, as an interior designer and a business owner, I'm pretty sure you know the speed and efficiency of 2D drawings when creating accurate floor plans. And this is the biggest pro about 2D drafting, which is essential for collaborating with contractors and vendors and your clients and any person involved in the design process. However, 2D drawings probably won't fully capture the essence of the design, and it won't be an immersive experience, at least not the way that 3D renderings are. And this brings me to a pro about 3D renderings. 3D renderings have the ability to showcase your design concepts from various angles, lighting conditions, and perspectives. What does it mean? That it will be a very realistic picture or even a video. We do provide 360 interactive images as part of our services, but this is only when you request it. We don't do it every single time. But going back to the point, 3D renderings have the ability to make very realistic images or videos, and the client will be able to get immersed in a very photorealistic experience, which will make easier for them to accept your design proposal, which, it will make your life easier too. right? You won't have to be doing 100 different design concepts for them to choose or approve from. Which, I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but we know how complicated clients can be sometimes, and this 100% makes our lives way easier. And why does it work so good? This is because it makes client communication so much better. And this might sound like I'm repeating myself, but seriously, the communication with your clients when you're using 3D renderings, it is so good. They can see every single detail that is inside your mind when you are creating your design. It also helps your creativity because you might see the 3D rendering and you might realize that actually some of the stuff that you thought that would be amazing for it are not that great or don't fit the concept as you wanted. And as I mentioned before, it also facilitates virtual walkthroughs. And again, what does this mean? 360 interactive images that you can use as a virtual reality to walk through the space with the design that you are about to do. But as a con about the 3D renderings, I will have to mention that it's time consuming and resource consuming, if that's even an expression. Maybe also money consuming, but that's where we come into play again. You won't have to spend time on it. You won't have to be spending your resources and money on developing realistic 3D renderings when you hire our services, because our experts with more than 10 years of experience take care of it for you in a very short period of time. But have in mind that to have a good result, you need the necessary time for it. So you can think that you will have a 3D rendering from today to tomorrow, because if someone tells you that they can do that for you, I am very sorry, but that's not gonna be a good 3D rendering. A good 3D rendering takes time. But as I said, my experts have over 10 years of experience, so they are highly experienced on 3D renderings and they can do it way faster than some other people. And yeah, I love to show off my experts. I am so sorry, I do. They are so good that I just need to keep repeating it over and over again sometimes. Let's go back to 2D drafting for a little bit. I want to mention some more pros and some more cons, okay? So let's start by saying that a very good pro about outsourcing 2D drafting is cost savings. And you're probably thinking, what do you even mean? Like, I am investing in someone to do this for me. This is not saving me money. This is only saving me time. And you can see it from that perspective, or you can see it from the perspective of, I am saving time. So in the time that I am not spending on drafting all this floor plans, I am going to spend it on either getting more clients, investing my time in something that will bring me more money, investing my time in something that will bring me more happiness, whatever you want to think about it. But if we're talking exclusively about cost savings, the time that you are not spending on drafting, you are spending it on bringing more money to your business, which will straightly lead to cost savings, if you know what I mean. Same way, and as I mentioned in some of my Instagram reels, or probably mentioned in my last podcast episode, when you invest in us, you are not directly spending yourself, because the cost of our services, you are including it in your design fee that you later on charge your client for. So instead of spending in us, you are profiting from it. Another pro about outsourcing 2D drafting is having the ability to access specialized expertise. What does this mean? This means you will be able to have high quality floor plans that I am sure you are able to do, but you can access someone that can do it even better than you. And that is something good. I don't want you to take this as an insult or anything in that group. This is not that. This is not meant to be it. This just means you know your weakness and you are able to get someone that can do it better for you. Or even maybe you are very good at it, but you hate doing it. So you can get someone or a group of people who can do it for you with a better quality. And the last pro that I always say about delegating is focusing on your zone of genius, which means that by delegating all these tasks, you are able to focus on what you do the best, which is design, of course. Besides taking care of all the CEO task or business owner task, however you want to call yourself in your business, this is what you can do by delegating. Now, if we move to the cons about outsourcing 2D drafting, I would like to mention 2 cons that I can think of right now. Number 1, communication challenges. Working with a remote team can be kind of challenging and can lead to misunderstandings that will also delay the project progress. So most of the teams and people that take care of 2D drafting for you are going to be remote. And this can be a good and a bad thing. And I choose to see it as a good thing. If you have never outsourced before, you can have a hard time communicating with a remote team and outsourcing stuff because you don't really know how to do it. That makes sense. That is no one's fault. That is not your fault. That is not your team's fault. And that doesn't mean that you are not made to outsource. And that doesn't mean that your team is not good. That only means that you and your team need to learn how to communicate with each other. And to facilitate this, I do have a free guide to outsourcing that you can get from us. So if you're interested on this guide, just DM me on Instagram and I will send it to you. Con number 2, quality control concerns. When we are outsourcing, we tend to micromanage. And I mean, I can be guilty of it too. But we need to learn, again, same as point number 1, we need to learn to outsource and to do this new task that we never did before. Or maybe if we did before, we didn't really know how to do it. But again, we are here to help, so we will talk through it. Also, making sure that the quality across all the outsourced draftings are good will require feedback. Constant feedback and very detailed feedback. You cannot come to us or to whoever you are sourcing to and be like, this floor plan needs revisions, this is not accurate, this is not what I want, or the dimension of this is not, whatever it is. You need to give detailed feedback. Let's give a very random example. So let's say that the dimension of a table in a drawing is not accurate. So what you should do is to come to your team and be like, okay, thank you so much for doing this for me, but I see that the dimension of this table is not accurate. Instead of being, I don't know, very random. Again, 15 by 7. Instead of being 15 by 7, I see that it looks more like a 13 by 5. So please take a look at it. Double check and let me know. We can get in a quick call and go through it. Or even, that was a very random example. But you can also use this app called Loom that is very, very good for feedback. You can go through the floor plan and talk on top of it, show your screen, mark up, draw on top of it, and you will be able to tell everything you want to tell them, but have it on a record video so your team also can rewatch it as many times as they need. And have patience. This is very important. Have patience. Every time that you're using a new service provider, you will have an adjustment period of time when you and your new team will be getting used to the new work dynamic. Move to 3D renderings again. I would like to mention some pros about it again and some cons, just as we did with 2D drafting. So Point number one, a very good pro about outsourcing 3D renderings is the access to very advanced tools and technology. So you might not have the programs to create very high-end 3D renderings, but your outsourcing team does. So outsourcing rendering also provides access to cutting-edge softwares and hardwares too, I guess, leading to high-quality photorealistic renderings. So as I said, your team, or at least our team, is prepared with the best 3D rendering programs, softwares, hardwares, however you want to call it. It has over 10 years of experience, each of them, and it will put you in a very high touch level, a very luxurious level. No more of those 3D models that you do last minute very quickly when you're trying to meet the deadlines. Now you will have this very luxurious high-end renderings made by your outsourcing team that will make you look like a very high-end company. Point number two, when you have multiple projects going at the same time, it can be very hard to get this kind of tasks done. Even if you're not doing 3D rendering, which takes way more time than modeling, modeling also takes time, consumes your time. And by the way, we also provide 3D modeling services. So if you're interested in something between 2D drafting and 3D rendering, we also provide 3D modeling services. But going back to the point, when you have many projects going at the same time, it can be very time consuming and it might have you going last minute, trying to get it done, stay up late at night, trying to get it done. And by outsourcing this service, you can very quickly accommodate the increased workload, which, doesn't it sound so good? Being able to take all this work and outsource it to someone else and also profit from that? That sounds incredible to me. Point number three is meeting tight deadlines, which comes hand to hand with the point number two. When we have very tight deadlines, can be very hard to meet them if we are doing 1,000 things at the same time. If you're taking care of everything in your business, it can seem almost impossible. But by having an external rendering team, they can focus only on rendering tasks and they can ensure that deadlines are met without getting burned out in your own in-house team. What I mean in-house team, I mean yourself, because I know that you're taking care of everything by yourself because you want to be in control of everything, which I do too. And I know how hard it is to let go of some of those tasks with the fear of if it is going to be done the way I want, with the level I want, as fast as I want, with the details I see that other people might not. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes it does happen that the team doesn't realize some of the details that you would have realized in a second. But that's why it is so important to give very detailed feedback, and with time, which again, you will need patience, but with time, your team would start seeing all the details that you would very, very quickly. Now, some cons about outsourcing 3D renderings for you might be the data security risk. And what I mean by this, I mean that by sharing design files with your external provider or service provider, meaning in this case us, it will probably bring you some concerns about your data security and your intellectual property protection, which I 100% understand and 100% respect, and that is why every single person in my team has signed a non-disclosure agreement and a confidentiality agreement. And every time that you hire our services, we also send you a contract that we sign and you sign when we have a very detailed and good confidentiality section. And this will protect you and us on the legal terms. And the last point I want to talk about right now is another con about outsourcing 3D renderings, which is the lack of immediate oversight. And again, when having a remote team, you are not there to see everything real time, to see everything live in front of your eyes, which to you, it can seem like a problem when it comes to the project's direction. And I understand it. Again, I really understand all these points. I'm a business owner myself, and I do have my own projects too. But let me tell you, we always answer between the hour, and we keep open lines of communication. We are always open to do video calls, jump on a Zoom call with you to chat and go over stuff that are needed to do. We have open spots in our calendar each week for our ongoing clients, and we make sure to give you a response as soon as possible. We do not wait for the next day to answer. We answer on the same day every day, except for weekends. We answer you Monday to Friday, but everything that you send us during the weekend, it is getting done anyways. It's just going to be sent to you on Mondays, because same as you, we also need our time to take care of ourselves, because this is the healthy thing to do. And if you're not doing it, please start doing so. We do have some posts and videos on Instagram and some upcoming blog posts about taking care of yourself for being your best self. Moving on to the next section, I would like to say that in the interior design industry, and more in the way that is growing here in Boston, the integration of outsourcing, 2D drafting, and 3D rendering offers incredible transformative benefits. These amazing services can streamline your design process in an incredible way and make it more efficient and effective for you and your clients. We already know, and you already know, that with 2D drafting, very precise space planning and furniture placement becomes very, very easy. And on the other hand, with the power of 3D renderings, you can almost bring designs to life and present it to your clients with photorealistic visualizations, which is next level. But I am not stopping there. As I also mentioned before, we can include virtual reality technology that elevates your client experience to absolute new heights. When we integrate VR with 3D renderings, it allows to your clients to virtually walk through their envisioned spaces and your design, providing a kind of service that not every interior designer provides, honestly. And I mean, who doesn't love VR? This is an incredible thing to include for clients and even for yourself. The interior design industry can be amazing, but it can also be a little bit competitive. And when the market is competitive, standing out is essential. And with these advanced technologies, you are enabling yourself to do just that. And the benefits of investing in 2D drafting and 3D rendering are not only limited to having new projects and new clients. They also have a very important role when it comes to creating very deep connections with your clients, which, I mean, also make them come back to you. Your clients will 100% appreciate your dedication to offering them an unforgettable experience, and it would also bring you more partnerships and referrals and long-term relationships. And don't only take my word for it. There are so many success stories from another Boston-based interior design firms that they have told us how after including these services as an outsourced service, they have experienced a significant growth and success in their business. Outsourcing these two services have not only enhanced their design capabilities, but they also have set them as industry leaders. So I would like to close today's episode by saying, take this episode as a call to action for you. Take it as a let's think and dive a little bit deeper into the benefits and the changes that outsourcing these services can bring me. Let's take it into consideration and let's see if it works for myself. Right? Embrace the power that outsourcing can bring to you, your business, and even your personal life. So thank you so much for listening to this episode today, and I hope I can have you in our next episode too. I am so excited you're here, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Sur Studio Podcast. We love to have in our community. Let's be friends on social media. You can find us on Instagram at surstudio.id or check out our website at surstudiointeriordesign.com. This was Priscilla from Sur Studio, and I look forward to have you on our next episode.